The ancient pyramids of Egypt have perplexed researchers for centuries. This is not only due to their impressive size, breathtaking beauty, or historical significance. The great curiosity regarding the pyramids stems, for the most part, from their mysterious and enigmatic aura. Despite the extensive research undertaken, many questions remain unanswered. How these edifices were designed, or what their purpose was, remain a mystery to this day. In this video, I will reveal findings that can help clarify one of the open questions. How were the measurements of the three pyramids in Giza determined? I offer here a novel explanation with a precise geometric solution for all three pyramids, one plan which determines even the interior design of the Great Pyramid. In my research, I examined the dimensions of each base, the sloped sides, the angles, and the height of each pyramid, and the interior design of the Great Pyramid. It is my contention that all these measurements are based on the division of a circle with a 120-meter radius into 7 equal parts. To further clarify, I will illustrate the way in which the proposed heptagon corresponds with the dimensions of each pyramid. We start by drawing a circle with a 120-meter radius and divide its circumference into 7 equal parts. We mark the apexes from 1 to 7 and join them all to form a geometric grid of a 7-pointed star, a matrix of a heptagon. We now connect apex 1, 3, and 6 to create a triangle. Its height is 146 meters. The length of each side is 187, the base is 233, and the lateral angle is 51.4 degrees. These dimensions are identical to those of the Great Pyramid of Giza, known as Khop's Pyramid, thought to be constructed some 4,500 years ago. Let us turn the wheel and from this cross-point on the vertical axis. We stretch a base to both sides, up to the sides of the heptagon, and join the ends upwards in the center point of the upper side. The height of this triangle is 137 meters, the side is 172, and the base is 208 meters. These are the exact dimensions of the second pyramid of Giza, called Khepra Pyramid. When we proceed and measure one of 7 small marked triangles out, its height is 65 meters, the length of each side is 83 meters, and the base measures 104 meters. These are the exact dimensions of Menkaure Pyramid, the smaller pyramid of the Giza complex. It is now evident that the dimensions of all three pyramids were derived from a geometry of a heptagon bordered by a circle with 120 meters radius. Architecture in ancient days was utilized as a mean of developing human's thought. It was considered as sacred, scientific, and eternal art that follow godly revelations to all people, from the Far East to Mesopotamia, Egypt, through the God of Israel, Christianity, and Islam, to the western side of the globe in temples of the Olmec, the Mayas, and the Aztecs, to name a few. The goal of ancient architecture was to preserve multidisciplinary knowledge reflecting the structure of the universe, our position in space, the laws of nature, the seasons, the equinox, the solstices, precession, etc. Vast scientific knowledge in astronomy, mathematics, and geometry was stored in sacred buildings through their location, shapes, dimensions, angles, and internal ratios. This supposition is further supported by the fact that the same heptagonal grid dictates even the interior design of the Great Pyramid. For example, the trenches from the Queen's Chamber, located at the center of the circle, join the center with apexes 2 and 7, and the angle of the shafts, 38.6 degrees, also matches this geometry. We can also see how the large ascending gallery leading to the King's Chamber is built along the line that joins apex 3 with apex 7. This means that not only do the outer dimensions follow the heptagonal matrix, but their inner plan follow the same rule. It is very unlikely that what we see can be attributed to mere coincidence. These findings suggest that the architect of the pyramids chose number 7 consciously and purposely. The riddle of number 7 bothered one of the pharaohs even in his dreams, of 7 cows and again of 7 shifts, solved only by Joseph, the beloved son of Jacob. The heptagonal matrix characterizes even more artistic creations of ancient Egyptian culture, like the 19 rays of light or sunbeams that appear in reliefs from the period of Akhenaten and Nefertiti, 1350 BC, and are considered an important concept in ancient Egyptian religion and art. The origin of the 19 rays is from joining of apex 1 to every crosspoint produced by the lines forming the heptagon. There is also a possible connection between Nefertiti's crown and this matrix. Notice how the wide-angle, elongated crown perfectly follows the grid and locates the painted ribbon symbolizing the zodiac belt on the equator. The knot, shaped like the symbol of infinity, seen at the front of the ribbon, presents the yearly cycle of the sun up and down the equator. Now we can read the 3 pyramids as declarations in universal language, the language of mathematics and geometry. Having found the master plan of the pyramids and the source of their unique dimensions, we still remain perplexed, since the deeper meanings remain unsolved. In order to decode the hidden message in the dimensions and unlock the mystery of the numbers, we may turn to another universal language, the Hebrew language, and to biblical records regarding the 7 days of creation, the first 26 generations from Adam to Moses, and to biblical stories of ancient Egypt. We need to look at the pyramids through the historical context of 7 generations of Israeli patriarchs dealing with Egypt: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Levi, Kehat, Amram, and Moses. A period spreading over 400 years, as foretold to Abraham, from the day Isaac was born to the day of Exodus. Many years of initiation and accumulation of wide scientific and theoretical knowledge, perhaps of ancient Egyptian sages, long before the giving of the Torah as a written language in the form of Hebrew writings. Ancient Egyptians practiced a very mysterious and esoteric religion, full of magic, ceremonies, in a land of an unnatural phenomena and wars between gods. Their religion offered the portal to other realms, other dimensions, to star systems. Through a path of judgment by the gods of the underworld, the soul will proceed either to heaven or to hell. But ancient Egypt was also a prominent center of scientific knowledge, probably the most important university of antiquity, a place visited by Abraham and later on by Jacob, who lived there during his last 17 years. Joseph lived next to Pharaoh nearly all his life. His brothers and their descendants lived in Goshen, and the greatest of all prophets, Moses, born and raised in Egypt, lived for 120 years, a fact that forever stands as a mathematical mark, a strong hand, and a radius, 120, which solved the riddle of Egypt's greatest symbol. Later on, Egypt remained a universal library, and her mystery schools initiated scholars and men of wisdom such as Archimedes, Socrates, Herodotus, Jesus, and many like Napoleon. Only after the day of Exodus, and for the first time in history, Hebrew alphabet and the Torah were given to humanity in the form of a written language. According to the Old Testament, it is evident that Hebrew claims to be the language of creation, the language of mathematics, of nature, and of the universe. In Gematria, the name Elohim equals to the nature. Since Hebrew is the language of Elohim, God, it must also be the language of nature. And nature operates through mathematical rules. Geometry is a branch of science, the visual side of mathematics, that reveals the mathematical properties of the Hebrew letters and words. Since both geometry and Hebrew share the same symbols, that is, numbers, Dimensions are numbers and words are numbers. So, if the pyramids are geometrical declarations in a universal language, they are declarations in Hebrew as well. Therefore, a lot can be revealed by transforming dimensions to words. Is this actually the case? First, we should remember that Hebrew letters and words are composed of whole numbers and only whole numbers. Dimensions, on the other hand, are usually numbers with remainders after the point. However, while using gematria, we calculate only natural numbers up to the point and ignore the remainders. Second, we should consider the fact that the pyramids are symbols. Symbols are always drawn as shapes, and shapes can only be taken from nature. Therefore, symbols, like nature, are eternal and forever true, if understood correctly. Symbols are beyond time and always relevant. Symbols have authority because they preserve information about something real in nature. Same truth or data forever. The reason that symbols keep their authority is because the universe operates through mathematical and geometric forms that gather around waves of energy, and because the only way for early civilization to store deep knowledge for generations to come is through symbols. Bearing this in mind, we can now examine the Heptagon, use gematria to transform numbers to words, remember the historical context, and open the Hebrew Bible. As we know, the Old Testament is a prosaic, sacred manuscript which doesn't deal with geometry, and there is no mentioning of pyramids at all. Yet, the long period in Egypt can be summed up by commemorating two narratives: that of Moses and the introduction of the holy day Shabbat. Moses, 120 years, stands as a radius, and the holy seventh day presented by the division of the whole into 7 parts. On the basis of these two, we draw a heptagon, allegory of the first week of creation. As we have already seen, the 3 pyramids of Giza fit perfectly. 120 is the geometric value of Hasneh, the bush, the burning bush seen by Moses. 120 is the value of Chazakah, Yad Chazakah, a powerful hand. God pulls Israel out of Egypt with a powerful hand, 120. 120 is also Amud, pillar. A pillar of fire and a pillar of cloud accompany the people of Israel in the desert day and night. Vayashkef Adonai el machane Mitzrayim, be'amud esh va'anan. It came about in the morning watch that the Lord looked down over the Egyptian camp through a pillar of fire and cloud, and he threw the Egyptian camp into confusion. 120 is Moed, Ohel Moed, the tent of holy times built in the desert. Moeds are holidays in Hebrew, and these were given only after Exodus from Egypt. And 120 is the lifespan of Moses, and this fact sums it up. All these keywords relate to the same historical context, the sons of Israel in ancient Egypt. Moses and his visions, the burning bush, the tent of holy times built in the desert, the powerful hand and the pillar accompanying Exodus day and night. כ"ד למען דעת כל עמי הארץ את יד אדוני כי חזקה היא, למען יראתם את אדוני אלוהיכם כל הימים. He did this so all the nations of the earth might know that the Lord's hand is powerful, 120, so that you might observe the Lord, your God, forever. The Hebrew word yireh means to see, and not to fear, as mistakenly translated. Yireh, or ya'ir, means to shed light, to be able to see. Yireh stands for awe, light. 120, just like the hand of a clock, and the hand of Yehovah upon me is powerful, strong, 120, says Ezekiel in chapter 3. And if we examine the diameter 240, we see Ruach Yehovah, the spirit, 240, of Yehovah, 26, and so the spirit of Yehovah, 240, determines the framework of this geometric matrix. הייתה עלי יד יהובה, ויוציאני ברוח יהובה, ויניחני בתוך הבקעה. to further quote Prophet Ezekiel describing his vision of a Megillah. And it spread it out before me, and it was inscribed before and behind, and there was written upon it, Kinim v'hege v'hi, which sum up to 240, equivalent to the Spirit of Yehovah, 240. Megillah is any scroll, object, or vision which uncovers the unknown or reveals the unseen. Considering the fact that the pyramids were the greatest mystery of Ezekiel's days and not only of our days, it is not so far-fetched to assume that he read the maps of the Spirit of Yehovah even deeper, while Yehovah's hand became strong, 120, upon him. The same Spirit of Yehovah, 240, that transferred Ezekiel to the valley, instructed Moses to limit the mountain, in other words, to draw a border around the holy place or space. In this case, the mountain is circled by a powerful hand, 120 radius, like the hand of a clock, with 240 diameter of Spirit of Yehovah. 240 also means kikar, a round shape, a round loaf of bread, or a simple roundabout. Prophet Zechariah further describes his visions of a hovering kikar, dimension 240, Yehovah, Ram v'Nisa. Ram, in Gematria, equals 240. Ram means above all others. An important message is hidden at the base of the Great Pyramid. The length, 233 in Gematria, means Zechor, remember. Remember the day you got out of Egypt. Zechor et Yom HaShabbat. Remember the holy seventh day of Shabbat. Remember this thing. Remember your God that pulled you out of Egypt. The word Zechor, remember, 233, as a command, is endlessly used in the Bible, but only after Exodus, after taking or borrowing the Egyptian vessels, only after understanding Egypt and its greatest symbol, the pyramids of Giza. 233 also means the cherub, kruv. This word in plural, known as cherubim, means to combine letters into words. Keruv means to assemble, le'arkiv, to put together, to combine. Ezekiel describes his vision of the glory of Yehovah, 26, ascending above the cherub, Kruv, 233. This awe-inspiring mathematical and geometrical spectacle is astonishing in its geometric precision qualities. The reverence of God, Yehovah, Jehovah, equals to 26, is esteemed, exalted above the cherub, Hakruv, equals 233. This spectacle is worth remembering as it reveals a symbolic world based on remembrance. Remember, 233, the base of the pyramid, carries a meaningful structure above and a multifaceted message, both metaphoric, intuitive, and associative, still exact in its numerical precision and equivalence to the names of God, the words and sentences in Hebrew. Can this be the meaning of Korban Shlemim, the bringing together of whole numbers? The word offering in Hebrew, Korban, means to bring closer to draw nearer to. Shlemim means whole units, in this case, whole numbers. Prophet Zechariah describes his visions of Megillah Afa, usually translated as a flying scroll. Va'ashuv ve'esa einai ve'er'eh ve'hine Megillah Afa. Megillah, scroll, equals 78, equals HaChochma, the wisdom. Afa, flying, equals 155, equals to Nika, or Kaneh. Megillah Afa, 78, plus 155 is 233. In other words, flying scroll, in Gematria, is 233. Which brings us back to the base of the pyramid and the word remember. On the basis of this, we can examine the height of the pyramid 146, which equals to words such as world, equals to olam. Wisdom and intelligence, chokhmah ubina, the second and third sephirot of the tree of life. 146 means end, sof. Knei sof, where baby Moses was left by his mother. 146 is the Psalm of Adam, witnesses Yehovah, or Yehovah 26, witnesses 74, Adam 45. This sentence derives from a natural division of 3 levels formed by the horizontal lines. זכור רחמך וחסדך כי מעולם המה. Remember the grace, chesed 72, and mercy, for they originate in a world. The Heptagon binds grace benevolence, 72, to world, olam, since grace, chesed, 72, is the length of each of the 7 ribs of this geometric form, according to the verse, Olam chesed yibaneh, may he build a world, 146, of grace, 72. Other dimensions translates to words such as courage, 216, blessed, 228, justice, 194. Yehovah, Jehovah, 26, as the distance between the center of the circle and the base of the pyramid. Adam, 45, stands upon grace, 72, and alongside the initials of male and female, 57, Zachar v'Nekeva. Male and female he created them, and he called them Adam. Hebrew names of God are also revealed here. Anochi, I am, 81. Adonai, my Lord, 65. Yehovah, Jehovah, 26. Chai, alive, 18. Hoveh, present, 16. In addition to delivering prosaic messages, the Hebrew language is a visible language. Its presence can be measured in numbers. One can see the words, see the voices, as was the case around the biblical Mount Sinai, where the people saw the sounds, saw the voices, the words. The same effect can be achieved by this geometric capsule, by illustrating a sacred space of Spirit of Yehovah, 240, from its center sprout holy names of God and words connected to the 7 days of creation, beginning with the definition of light and darkness, and naming them as Yom, day, 56, and Laila, night, 75. Genesis chapter 1. He named the light, day, and the darkness he named as night. And there was evening, and there was morning, day 1. Day 56, 1:13. And so, we're not only looking at the pyramids of Giza, we are looking at a geometric model of the consciousness in Hebrew, a model which connects language, heaven and earth, connects metaphysic with form and size, conscious with unconscious. This geometric model reveals a hidden harmony of the divine dimensions, midot. Midot literally means measurements, dimensions, length, width, and depth. The Kabbalistic term midot is associated with 6 sephirot, chesed, gvura, tiferet, netzach, hod, yesod. Regular geometry proves that the Hebrew language is a transcendental language. It transcends to new realms like mathematics and geometry, pinpointing the idea of unity and wholeness by simply revealing a single source to words and numbers. The word Torah equals to the word yirat, and yirat is being able to see, to observe. Yireh Elohim is not the person who fears Elohim, but rather the one that actually sees Elohim, ro'eh. Ro'eh is a synonym for the word prophet. HaRo'eh, the prophet, is the one who sees. And this is exactly the geometric paradigm that we are exposing here. The pyramids of Giza contain a hidden text in Hebrew. Israel didn't know. My people didn't look. You, son of man, tell the house of Israel about the house, and they may measure the plan. Ezekiel adds, and all the words of God that were revealed to me. To further quote God's instructions to prophet Ezekiel, Son of man, you sit in a house of rebels, those who do have eyes but do not see. Tell everything you see to the house of Israel. Geometry is the visual aspect of mathematics that reveals the numeric properties of the Hebrew language as well. properties that are used for transforming linguistic message or meanings that tell a story. This is due to the fact that both geometry and Hebrew share the same symbols, meaning numbers. Sacred geometry is the ancient Hebrew logos, the mathematical and geometrical generating device, the toolbox of creation, a sort of code that when decoded reveals a map of the consciousness, perhaps of a people within their language. This scenery can stop the continuity of time, much like a time machine that dives deep into the past and extracts ancient knowledge, or an aerial vehicle that cruises in the realm of Hebrew thought. The geometric model of a universal consciousness in Hebrew exists in its entirety beyond man. It is simply there, as an independent, constant, and precise geometric truth, regardless of human existence or understanding. Consciousness does not think like us. Consciousness simply knows. In fact, consciousness is knowledge, science, and wisdom. Therefore, it exists as an everlasting self-sustaining, self-motivating, structural plan, a matrix of static relations, silent scientific symbols, or eternal truth. The conclusion drawn from the Holy Spirit of Yehovah, the Heptagon, and the pyramids is that the Hebrew language is a vibrant mean of communication, founded upon logic and mathematics. Therefore, it is easy to accept the notion that our world is structured upon language, and that the purpose of history regarding humanity is to put eternal wisdom on the front stage, to expose deep knowledge and bring it to the public domains, so that we, humans, may be able to connect with the scientific mind of nature, the divine mind of Elohim, through the self-explanatory language that we inherited, a language that can help us reach a deeper understanding of the wisdom and intelligence of nature in relation to the way we think. Genesis chapter 1. And there became a day, 56, and there became a night, 75. Day 1. In Gematria, 1:13 equals to the word love, ahava. Day 56, 1:13, and night 75 are present in the plan of Spirit of Yehovah and the three pyramids. We use a written language as a mean of bond between speech and thought, as a symbolic representation of the speaking voice descending into letters or written symbols. Nowadays, we tend to communicate through visual forms rather than linguistic communication through speech or the written word. We associate meaning and comprehension with visual forms, and when we enter this topological realm, spoken language is no longer heard, but rather seen. The Hebrew logos is the voice, the information, and the inquirer. Do you see what I mean? This geometric plan is an informative hologram, multidimensional in its linguistic construction and mathematical precision. It suggests that the Hebrew language, like mathematics and geometry, preceded creation and served as a constructive tool in the process of creation. The Hebrew language is the connecting element between purpose and result, between metaphysic thought and shape and dimension. Due to its numerical geometric aspect, it can be seen amongst the elements taking part in the mechanism that make the universe go round and preceded even human consciousness. Geometry is a gate to a new dimension of natural wisdom that is manifested in Hebrew and draws an idyllic map of the end of days. A scene similar to the beginning of time, an utopian image of the Garden of Eden, reveals undisputed geometric truth, peace on earth, when all nations can witness the honor of Yehovah, 26, rising above the Kruv, cherub, 233. Remember. Hebrew geometry offers a stage for the spectacle that glorifies the language of nature, exposing the imprint of the names of God in space. Shaddai, 314. El Shaddai, 345. Anochi, 81. Adonai, 65. Yehovah, 26, 1, 13. Revealing the names of the Sefirot, wisdom, Chokhmah, 73. Intelligence, Binah, 67. Grace, Chesed, 72. Courage, Gvura, 216. This platform of the Spirit of Yehovah reveals a world, Olam, 146. Justice, Tzedek, 194. Blessing, Baruch, 228. The universe was created by a divine scientific language, spoken by the Creator or sent by a computerized divine program from a higher level above humanity. A technological language that allows the speaker to project words, forms, and dimensions from the metaphysical world into the material world. The way creation is described in Genesis chapter 1, it is a language so powerful that proclaims, "Let there be," and indeed, it becomes. Limit the mountain, or encircle the mountain. God instructed Moses, long before the circles were investigated by Archimedes or Pythagoras. And indeed, the circumference of a circle with a 100 diameter is 314, equals in Hebrew, Shaddai, one of the names of God, which is also the value of the number pi, equals to 3.14, the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. Being an irrational number, very much like divinity, God, pi cannot be expressed exactly as a fraction. Equivalently, its decimal representation never ends and never settles into a permanent repeating pattern, eternal. These facts prove the connection between the names of God, the Hebrew letters, the decimal system, nature, and the Bible, Torah. Let's look at the decimal heptagon enclosed within a 1,000 diameter circle through the context of the seventh Sephirah, Netzach, eternity, attributed to Moses and to the 7 days of Passover. Netzach, in Gematria, 148, equals to Pesach, Passover. The seventh Sephirah of the Tree of Life is attributed to Moses, and naturally to Egypt, Exodus, and to the giving of the Torah. 1000, Elif, reveals a prototype, a master plan of the decimal system interwoven with the 22 Hebrew letters. Aleph has the exact same spelling as Elif, but with different punctuation. Aleph, 111, is the distance between the center of the circle and the base of the pyramid. The height of the large pyramid in the circle is 611 in Gematria, Torah, the Bible. The remaining distance from the base of the pyramid to the bottom of the circle is 388. The word Chofesh, freedom, equals to 388. As we can see, the word Torah, 611, is mathematically bound to the number 7, to the idea of freedom, 388, and to the word Tzedek, justice, equals 194. Thus, justice plus justice equals to freedom. It shall be one Torah for those who reside with you. The heptagon suggests that the height of the Great Pyramid of Giza, attributed to Copts, is derived from the word Torah, 611. In other words, Torah, 611, replace a world, 146, replace wisdom and intelligence, Sof, and replace the sentence Adam witnessed Yehovah. 74 means Lamed, meaning learning, so we can read it also as Adam learning Yehovah or Yehovah learning Adam. This heptagon suggests that the name Chops, or Copts, as pronounced by many, is derived from the Hebrew word Chofesh, freedom. So it is very likely that this pyramid was attributed to, or called after, Chofesh, 388. A name and a concept not only with meaning, but with backup of mathematical precision. Precise, just like the pyramid that presents an internal idea of a world, 146, of wisdom and intelligence. Based on memory, remember, 233. Backed by a master plan scaled in decimal units, and by two words, Torah, the Bible, and chofesh, freedom. Other dimensions play a role in the unfolding story here. Gvura, courage, 216. Isa, bring or carry, 311. In fact, we're looking at the seventh heaven since Shamayim, heaven, 390, is a dominant measurement. May Yehovah bless you and bring you peace. Another well-known scene sprout from the seventh heaven, that of Moses and the burning bush. Boer, burn, 272. Esh, fire, 301. And above it, Shalom, peace, 376. The name Israel, 541, appears many times. For example, it is the length of each side of the purple rhomboid in the center. Israel, 541, is accompanied by courage, 216, intelligence, 67, Shalom, peace, 376, heaven, 390, Torah, 611, freedom, 388, and by the letter Aleph, 111, which points to language, and 1000 points at mathematics, based on the decimal system. This is the message in a nutshell. The ability of man to communicate with nature or with Elohim requires him to gain knowledge with the language of his Maker. When God stationed Adam in the Garden of Eden, it was for the purpose of dwelling in divine surroundings and learning the language of creation, the tongue of God. Hebrew Adam was required to keep and work elements in the garden of the Hebrew language, which was prepared for him by nature. To work equals to le'avda, equals 111, equals Aleph, again, the first letter of the alphabet. To keep, leshomra, equals 575, equals asara, 10, again, the decimal counting system. And so, man, Adam, was required to learn the 22 letters from Aleph, 111, and to understand the decimal system as a natural mathematic basis of all things created. Asara equals 10 points to the 10 Sephirot of the Tree of Life that grows in the Garden of Eden, the garden of letters and numbers. So the story of Adam begins with 2 instructions regarding working, linguistic, Aleph, 111, and keeping, mathematics, 10 Sephirot, the decimal system. Working, 111, or Aleph, 111, is not only the first letter, but the length in kilometers of each degree on Earth's circumference. In other words, 111 kilometers times 360 degrees is Earth's circumference, 40,000 kilometers. So Aleph, as we see, is a natural dimension, and as a radius, it produces a 222 diameter circle. Barech, bless, 222, blessing. 222 is Kvar, the river Kvar, where Ezekiel's visions took place. 22 is Rechev, vehicle, but in Hebrew it is a direct instruction, leharkiv, to combine letters into words. 222 is Herkev, tziruf, to combine pieces like a puzzle, leharkiv, the very act of making a sum of 2 objects, or 2 letters. The very act is tziruf, a vehicle to bless, the heart of the Torah pyramid, the hidden jewel. In the 240-meter pyramid, it is Yehovah, 26, instead of Aleph, 111, and Garden, 53, instead of Bless, 222. This geometric plan naturally illustrates in a precise manner scenes like the burning bush, sentences like the voice, 136, of El, 31, Shaddai, 314, or Shalom, 376, over Israel, 541. Geometry is a gate and a portal to a new realm, a new world, where one can see the names of God and recognize characteristics of natural divine wisdom, of intelligent design programmed in Hebrew, a linguistic and mathematical program that came down from a metaphysical realm above humanity. and regardless of human ability to see or understand. This eternal antique program contains all of the forces that run the universe and is governed by a confederation of the names of God. To conclude, the Hebrew language is not a product of human consciousness, but rather it functions as the basis for human thought. Language connects us to text. The creation of Adam in the image of God came with the discovery of the Hebrew language, or rather, connected with the giving of the Hebrew language to human beings, starting with Adam and ending with Moses, who got it as a written language. In other words, the Hebrew language is the message embedded in the creation of Adam.